As wildfires continue to rage in multiple regions in Canada, a communications and broadcasting policy expert is criticizing the National Weather Alerting System. Now, she says that it should account for a wider range of extreme events. Monica Auer is from Canada's Forum for Research and Policy in Communications, and she says emergency notifications should be sent out for any events that have the potential to threaten lives, such as wildfires. As of now, the National Public Alerting System, publicly known as Alert Ready, issues emergency notifications for tornadoes and severe storms. A federal regulatory policy drafted in 2014 says alert messages should be issued for situations presenting imminent or unfolding dangers to life. The federal broadcast regulator said in that policy that this included but was not limited to tornadoes, forest fires, industrial disasters, and tsunamis. Well, joining us now to unpack her call to expand the Alert Ready system is Monica Auer herself. Ma'am, thank you again for your time today.
Thank you for the invitation.
So why does the current Alert Ready system not already issue alerts for wildfires, which have been a dangerous problem for Canada for years now?
In fact, it is required to provide alerts for wildfires, and it defines wildfires in particular as anything involving grass, brush, or trees. And in 2023, according to Alert Ready, it's already issued 209 wildfire warnings, which is up from 14 in 2021. But what we don't know is which wildfires are being reported and why other wildfires are not being reported. And I say this because the Canadian National Fire Database said that in 2021, there were 596 fires covering more than 200 hectares, which is the definition of a large fire. According to Alert Ready, it only issued 14 wildfire alerts that year. So 596 fires and 14 wildfire alerts. There's a disconnect there.
So why the disconnect, ma'am, especially considering this federal policy drafted in 2014?
Well, the main reason I suspect is because we actually don't know how well the Alert Ready system is working, and because no single institution is in charge. Right now, Alert Ready is apparently a partnership involving 13 separate governments and their officials, the TV and radio broadcasters in the Canadian broadcasting system. And by that, I'm only talking about usually the local or over-the-air services, Palmorix, which operates the Weather Channel and Meteo Media, as well as wireless service providers. And my point here is that there's no single institute in charge, and therefore no single body responsible for reporting and evaluating how well the system is working.
All right, ma'am, and we mentioned you're advocating for expanding Alert Ready to include wildfires. So how many lives could be saved or helped from these Alert Ready messages regarding forest fires?
I would love to be able to give you an answer, but as I said, the problem is we have too little data and too little integrated data. There are too many cooks involved in this broth of wildfires. And because no single institution is responsible for reporting on whether Alert Ready is working, we have no way of knowing how many lives it has saved or alternatively failed to save. But this is a structural problem that the federal government and its provincial and territorial counterparts could and should correct. They should ensure that Canadians are aware that if anybody involved in the Alert Ready system, such as Palmorix, which is a private broadcaster, for instance, has financial problems, the alert system will continue to operate effectively and reliably. Right now, we don't have that assurance because no single person is in charge.
So what is the current federal system used to inform Canadians about forest fires nearby?
Well, the CRTC requires radio and TV stations to provide those kinds of alerts, but there's no single federal reporting agency to tell us that this is actually happening. And because some radio stations, for instance, are automated, we don't know whether all of the stations are staffed 24/7.
All right.
And in the case of the internet, because of course we have broadcasters operating online, one of the problems with emergencies is that the internet typically collapses. If that's the case, then we may not be able to rely on certain types of telephone systems. You may not have access to internet information, and so we rely again on over-the-air radio and TV services.
Some very concerning information here, ma'am. Just a quick 20 seconds left here, but what would be your advice to Canadians looking to get the most up-to-date information on wildfires right now?
Well, ideally, they could turn into their local CBC radio station because CBC has dozens of stations across the country. However, the CBC announced last year that it might move to an online-only service, which would eliminate the hardware or the stations that now exist. Ideally, the federal government would develop its own independent system that is open, transparent, and accountable so Canadians are assured that when there are emergencies in their vicinity, they are warned and protected. That's the ideal. So far, Canada hasn't wanted necessarily to allocate the resources for that goal.
A lot of work needing to be done. Ma'am, thank you again for your time today.
Thanks so much for your time.
We'll be right back.